Is your baby refusing solids and won't take a bottle? You're getting really concerned about your child's weight. They're in the low percentile. They're not growing. Maybe they have some physical abnormalities. You may be waiting for genetics, or you just have no idea, and you just don't know where to go with your child, and you're just getting frustrated. Well, here are 7 things that you can do to start moving in this process of helping your child get the nutrition and health that they need for development and growth. And the first thing that you need to do is actually talk to your pediatrician about your concern. That's the number one thing. Whenever you have a concern, you always want to talk to your pediatrician. Now, I know it gets frustrating when you're like, yeah, I tell my pediatrician, but they don't do anything. Like, you still need to tell them, just in case. The second thing, keep a record of your child's weight. Weigh them every day. That's what I do with my kids, especially those that I'm concerned about. I weigh them. I have a log. I take other measurements and things like that, so that I can actually show my pediatrician, be like, no, like they're on a downtrend of losing weight. And really, like, if my weight stays the same, they don't do anything. But neither here nor there. And I totally get the frustration. And like, even being in the 1 percentile, like that just logically, that's not good. I even have kids who are not on the percentile, and they're just like, well, as long as they're growing, then it's okay for them. And I'm like, yeah, but not really. It doesn't take away your concern and worry as a parent. The third thing you want to look at is ask your doctor, at what point are you going to be concerned about my child's weight? Because I'm concerned, you're not concerned. When are you going to be concerned about it? And then that way, as you're keeping a log, things like that, you can definitely tell your doctor when you're like, okay, we hit that point of concern, like, what's our plan of action? And 2, it might even be worth asking, what's your point of concern and what's the plan of action once we hit that point of concern? Because I've been in the situation where I got to the point of concern and they're like, oh, well, let's watch it a little bit longer. And it's like, no, like, we're at the point of concern. Like, what are you talking about? The fourth thing you can do is ask for a G-tube consult. Ask for an NJ-GJ tube. It's the nose tube. I get the terms mixed up. But ask for a consult. Ask for a feeding tube consult, and just at least get the ball rolling. Because that can be, that appointment can be months out. And so just say, okay, like, we're watching it. I'd like to get a referral in, at least have the appointment on the book, so that within this time, if we're seeing that downtrend, if we're getting concerned, then I have an appointment and I don't have to wait, weeks and weeks again, or even more, to help my child thrive. The fifth thing that you want to do is get a dietitian on your team. One of the biggest mistakes that I made while caring for my children, special needs or not, is expecting my pediatrician to have all the answers. But my pediatrician is just specialized in pediatrician things. They're not specialized in diet. They're not specialized in feeding. They're not specialized in therapy. They're not specialized in alternative modalities. They're not specialized in movement and development. They're not specialized in gastro. They're not specialized in cardiology. They're not specialized in skincare. Like, if you have concerns for your child, look for the specialist that addresses that concern. It's a game changer for helping you actually make progress in your child's medical or non-medical care needs. The sixth thing that you can do is ask for a swallow study. Get a baseline. If your child is refusing solids, they're not liking the bottle, things like that, like, they could just have a very weak swallow, and they could be aspirating, which means food is getting down into their airway, or I've had both situations. So the aspiration, and the second situation is like, they're swallowing, but then they have to swallow, and they have to swallow to clear the food through the throat, and it just takes more time. And so if you have a swallow study, sometimes it might just require thickening your child's food to get that to work. Especially if they're on the bottle, you just thicken the liquid and things like that. And then when you're giving them foods, you have a little thicker food. Now, if your child is still just has an aversion to food, Okay, that's where this seventh point comes in, and ask for OT and speech therapy, one or the other, or both. Sometimes an OT will be qualified in both areas. But ask for therapy, ask for early intervention, start working with that. The frustrating part is if your child looks all right and they don't quite qualify, it may be hard to get that type of help for them. And for me, like, OT and ST, like, it kind of worked, but it really didn't. With my first special needs child, like, they were severe enough, they really tapped out of therapy services, and I needed something else. I was desperate. I wanted something else, and I actually found a modality called movement lesson, and I found a lot of answers there, and I learned a lot of techniques there that gave me ways to help my child grow and thrive when just therapy couldn't help anymore. Now I have 2 other special needs children. Therapy, like, kind of works for them, and so I see progress. But had I not had movement lesson, like, that would have been enough. Like, we're excited to see progress, and so we really don't look for anything else. And 2, it's a lot of work to do the exercises at home, things like that. But because I had my first child, and like, I knew how amazing movement lesson was, and the kind of progress that the progress potential that I could see with movement lesson, regardless of my child's developmental needs. Like, I'm in the situation where I have both going on for one of my kids. They're in therapy, and then I also do movement lesson. And in therapy, I'm just like, okay, like, you're working on balance, you're working on things like that, but like, I can't visibly see a change, like, in the therapy session. But I do movement lesson, and I see changes that day. And when I say in the therapy session, like, even after the therapy session, like, I don't really see changes. But with movement lesson, like, in the same day, I can see changes. I can see my child doing things they weren't doing before. I can see my child, like, and it's not even just with movement or feeding. Like it's just, sometimes it's speech. Like, I have one of my kids, and my therapist was working on her pelvis and walking, and I was working on, like, the milestone grabbing the feet. Movement lesson has an awesome course on grabbing the feet. And, like, my daughter, like, has started talking, and I'm like, okay, that isn't quite what I was expected, but awesome. And her crawling's getting better. She's really restricted in her pelvis and things like that. But just to explain, like, therapy is awesome, but when you're tapped out of therapy service, like, services, movement lesson, it is amazing. If therapy is working for you, movement lesson is just going to be too hard for you. It's a self-education course. It requires your time and your effort. When you're learning it, it's best to do it 2 hours a day. And when I take a movement lesson course, I do it for 30 minutes per like, individual lesson that I'm given, because it just it allows me to see the changes that I'm making, because I can compare different parts of the body and things like that. And I can see a difference in that amount of time. Even if I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, as long as you're gentle and you touch with rotation, this is something that can be very beneficial for your child. And so if therapy is working for you, movement lesson is going to be too hard. But if you're a self-motivated parent, if you want to be intentional about your child's development, not just feeding, but intentional about their development, you want to be proactive. Movement lesson gives you the tools to do that, but it requires your learning and your effort. Sometimes it feels like I'm back in school, but like, it's actual school that's relevant and helpful to my children. And so if you want the link to that course, you can look in the description. You can go to movementlesson.academy /courses or / products, and you can find it the long way. But if you just go to the link, it will take you right to the checkout page. Those are 7 things that you can do. You don't have to do movement lesson. I just love movement lesson. I will tell any and every parent about it because it's awesome. But those are 7 things you can do if you are concerned about your child's feeding. Like, there's no reason for you to be concerned. None. Well, If your child's developing great, there's no reason for you to be concerned. If you have any concerns, that means your child's saying, hey, I need help. Visually, you can see something is going on. And like sometimes the doctors just, honestly, they just don't know what to do. They need more warning signs. They need more indicators from your child. And by then, like, that's reactive care. And I don't want reactive care. Like, I want proactive care for my child. But that proactive care has to come from you. Like, a doctor literally said that to me, like, yeah, we're reactive care. And I'm like, no, like, that doesn't work for me. So try those 7 things out. And if you're really just tapped out of therapy services, like movement lesson is the best solution for you. Parents go to that when that's their last hope. And I say that because it can be hard to learn. And so when it's your last hope, like, you have to learn it. You have no other options. And I was that way. Like, my daughter was dying in the hospital, and I'm like, I have nothing else. Like, let's try this. And it was amazing. And I've used it with all my other kids since. And just, I mean, therapy is good, but movement lesson, is way better. So try those 7 things, and like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get more videos like this. Thanks.